one of those exits and assemble in the playground. And please remain there until somebody's decided that it's safe to come back. In the event that we experience any unruly or intimidating behaviour, we will adjourn until it is safe to reconvene. And we define unruly or intimidating behaviour as criticising members and or staff, disrespectful and offensive behaviour, raised voices and or talking over elected members. So our first submission from at this stage is from Hawariki. Haere Mai, if you come to the table, please. And if you could start by talking to the machine behind me and saying your name and saying who you represent. And then we have read your submission and we invite you to highlight the key points, etc. So, greetings.
Kia ora, Les Roberts, my name. I'm from representing Hawariki Marae.
Tēnā hoki kuna rātou, we move with the kaira tuku iwa, kaumata Hawariki Marae.
Kia ora koutou, te Corona Kuewa, also representing Hawariki Marae and also
Kia ora.
Start by Hawariki te atu reo runga rāua mangaro, te pena whakaaro pai ki whakaaro taka. You'll have read, I've taken the proposal as read. Assuming people have read that. In case you haven't, I'll just touch on a couple of things on it. I'm not going to go through it. But I just want to say, Hawariki Marae is a long-standing marae here. Been now considered a marae, what we call a marae hapori. It's a community marae. It's there for everybody here, Māori and Pākehā, and it's supported with all the things in the district. We provide community facilities for a range of things, both for tangihanga, for.
Can I just ask for just a slight pause? I'm not quite sure what's going on over here, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll give you another minute at the end.
We've always seen that South Wairarapa District Council as being reasonably fair in the way in which they attribute costs and charges and things across the community. There'll be some people who might disagree with that, but by and large, we see them as being reasonably fair. And the views of the people in the rohe being taken into account in making those charges and costs. In this case, however, we see with the water charges, costs and limits as being not in that ball game. They're being particularly unfair and I suppose you call it unfair and unjust really, because the basis, our understanding is the basis on which the water rates were set, or the rates that we can consume water and the rates at which the penalties were applied are the same for a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house inside the town as it is for our marae outside there. And we're quite different. So that we have maximum usages at the marae, which is based on the maximum usage for a dwelling. Maximum usage for a dwelling is 350 cubic metres at the moment, proposed to come down to 250 cubic metres. And that includes an allowance, according to council documents, of saying there's about 100 cubic metres over and above what's normally used in a dwelling. So they've got a bit of freeway there. We don't. A bit of buffer, I say. Various comparative calculations. We've had a look at what our people nights and people visits are, and there's about, last year, there was about 3,200 person nights at the Marae. That's quite a bit when you look at it. I was surprised when I saw it, but I went back through the data and had a look. 3,200 people nights, that's a lot. And there's about 1,500, 1,200 to 1,500 people who would come in and out of there during the day without staying the night. So the drain or the pull on the water supplies, which is the nature of this discussion, is reasonably considerable compared to a 2 or 3 bedroom house in Martinborough, the town. We understand also there are bigger places in the town, but like hotels and Airbnbs and what have you, but they derive an income from their business. And I guess in that case, they must be able to pull some money out of that to pay for the rates, the water. But we don't get any money for our business. It's all koha. It's 99% koha. Occasional bit of money that it's well, I suppose it's gifted from other community, other areas, but koha indeed. We provide a disaster relief provision for the district, and in fact, the emergency management have been working closely with us for a couple of years, and then more importantly at the moment, it's getting more and more. And the council and the South Ryde District Council to provide facilities. So if there's a major climatic or earthquake event, for example, that we can cater. We can sleep 100 people there if we had to. And the council just recently provided us with 2 30,000 litre tanks that are being installed as we speak, as I speak. It's very much today, and they'll be installed. So by the end of today, they'll be all up and running. So we have capacity there for close on 100,000 litres of water in storage if there's an event. So we're trying to do our best there. We also provide a backup for the medical centre should it, for any reason, fall over or have a fire or something. The fire should go out pretty quick because they're not too far away from the fire brigade there. But nevertheless, if there's an event, something causes the medical centre closed down, they know we have a memorandum of understanding with them. They can come to the Marae and set up there. And indeed, we have in the past given lots of vaccinations there, health initiatives, health education things. And also, we're also a centre for distributing emergency supplies, as we did through COVID, and as we do with the come from the food bank and from various other places. So we consider ourselves quite different to a 2 or 3 bedroom house in Martinborough. We're just wanting our water rates to be assessed on the same basis. So I guess that's the main things I would say. We recommend that the water allocation for Hauriki Marae before the excess water charges are applied be set at 2,500 cubic metres. Now that might sound a lot. You might go, "Ooh, how the hell did you come up with that?" Well, we came up with that on the basis that of the amount of people coming through, and there's many more people starting to come through. Hauriki Wiremu can attest to this, that he hardly gets a free weekend in a year. In fact, we shut the Marae over the January period to give the whānau there a bit of a breather, because there's always people coming through, as you can imagine. So all we're asking for is some fair assessment of what we are, who we are, what we provide, and what services. So happy to take any questions.
Yes, thank you very much as well. This has obviously raised a lot of questions, and we're going to start down the far end. Councillor Elam, we're going to move around. So, Councillor Elam.
Yep. Thanks, Mayor Martin, for you. Thanks for your presentation, Les. It's great to hear that another couple of 30,000 litre tanks have been installed.
Yep.
So you've already got another 30,000 litre tank.
We've got three 30,000, roughly 30,000 litre tanks for standby water. And we've got 2 30,000 litre or 32,000 litre tanks for our sprinkler systems as well. So we've got 5 tanks around here. So in an absolute emergency, although you wouldn't want to use the water that's in the sprinkler tanks for potable water, but we've got plenty of.
Right. So with those 3 tanks that allocated for potable water,
yeah,
Is there a filtration system on there, a UV in the membrane filters?
No,
So
it comes from Town Supply.
Right.
They're filled with Town Supply.
Mhm.
And speaking to the installers yesterday, they suggested that Whitman and I do a test on the sprinkler pumps every week, and so we usually test, and we run that for about 10 minutes. So we might do the same thing with the water tanks, just open about 10 minutes later. So water comes from Bristol. So it's not sitting there for 10 years waiting for someone to use it. There'll be a little bit of a flow through. We have a process to manage that.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Right, thank you. So coming up,
Store council.
Yes, sir.
So the question again was, when we're looking at the emergency support, that we're hoping to be able to supply in case of an emergency, we will be looking at trying to install the system so that we can utilise these tanks for the problem of water. That's where we're headed.
thank you very much. Now, I wasn't sure, Councillor Woodcock, did you have a question or will we move to Councillor Rolls?
No, a lot of my question has already been answered, but I do have one. Are you collecting rainwater for any of those tanks, or are they solely being supplied?
Solely Town Supply. We had a proposal we had plans to put to collect rainwater.
Yep.
But the budget wasn't enough. The council kindly, thank you, dear people. The council has provided the tanks and the installation and all the connections to get them up and running.
Yep.
To have rainwater, would have been quite a different kettle of fish. And we then would have had to put in UV filters and filtration. I've got rainwater at home, so we would have had to do the same.
So that allocation, the tanks are being filled with town water at the moment, so that will come off your allocation as well, would it not? The filling of those tanks will come out as part of your allocation. Yeah. Thank you.
They would just be.
I said I'd give it to
emergency at present.
Yeah.
And there is
Yeah, sure, yeah.
because we want to.
But it still comes out of your allocation of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's right, the initial fill. For allocation.
Yeah.
That was.
So a last question.
No, it's fine, Mike.
Right.
I'm
Okay,
covered.
well, look, I extended your time a minute because of the interruption and we've reached it now. So look, thank you all very, very much for coming to talk to us.
Yeah.
Take your submission.
Good points. Thank you, Liz.
So next people who speak to us are Katie Farman and Jenna Snellgrove. And Katie is online.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Just double checking you can hear me okay.
We can hear you very well. If you could just start by saying who you are, who you represent, and then assume that we've read your submission and go for it. Highlight the main points, emphasise these points. Your 10 minutes starts now.
Fantastic. Look, first of all, good morning. My name is Katie Farman. I'm here on behalf of Jenna Snellgrove from Transit, the bus and coach company. We're a fourth generation family-owned New Zealand transport and tourism company with our roots proudly here in the Wairarapa. We will be celebrating our centenary next year. We have made a submission to the South Wairarapa District Council to support the continued investment for our regional tourism organisation, Destination Wairarapa, at current levels. Destination Wairarapa is a very respected regional tourism organisation around New Zealand, and it's the only local organisation that's solely focused on growing tourism here in the region. This helps drive results that benefit the entire community. These benefits include the ability to attract both domestic and international visitors all year round, who in turn stay in our accommodation, spend their money at local attractions, cafes, restaurants, petrol stations, but also attend events that are held here throughout the year. This helps to sustain a local economy, including creating existing and new employment opportunities. I know the latest data showed that almost 1,400 people here in the Wairarapa are employed directly by tourism. So it helps to drive a very vibrant and prosperous place to live and to work, and it encourages more people to come and live here. Because Wairarapa is a smaller region, we need to ensure we maintain a really thriving and exciting visitor economy. And to do this, it's vital that experts are in charge of destination marketing, which is where the key partnerships that Transit has with Destination Wairarapa are super important. So you may or may not know, Tourism New Zealand flies the New Zealand flag all around the world to visitors to attract people to New Zealand. It is then the job of the RTO, or the Regional Tourism Organisation, to attract visitors here. And in the past, Destination Wairarapa has done that so well. At Transit, we've actually just come back from Trends, which is the largest business-to-business tourism conference, and it was held in Wellington for the first time last week. Now, we have been bringing visitors to the region for many years, and 15 years ago, they asked us, where's your home base, Transit? And we would say, oh, it's in the Wairarapa, and inevitably they'd say, oh, where's that? Whereas last week at Trends, we were talking to people from Germany, from Singapore, from Taiwan and China, and we would say, oh, we're from the Wairarapa, and they'd go, you lucky thing. The level of acknowledgement of where the Wairarapa is and what it has to offer for visitors is extremely high. And I would attribute a lot of that to the hard work that Destination Wairarapa has done for more than a decade. This work includes holding key partnerships and relationships with the likes of Tourism New Zealand, the Tourism Industry Association, Tech New Zealand, and of course partnering with our other RTOs on either side of the Wairarapa, Wellington NZ, and also Hawke's Bay Tourism, to encourage people to visit our routes, for example, the classic New Zealand Wine Trail, which takes visitors from Blenheim through to Wellington, Wairarapa, and up to Hawke's Bay. Our role in the visitor experience is actually getting people here. We often like to say Transit's like the glue that connects people in the background. We do that by bringing large and small group visitors to the Wairarapa, either on a day trip, predominantly from Wellington, but also from further afield. But also bringing large groups here through our key partnerships with the likes of Grand Pacific Tourways and Gate One, which are large inbound tour operating companies. You might often see the coaches parked up in the Martinborough Square along the main street in Martinborough or Featherston. We also operate the public transport services here on behalf of Metlink in Wellington, and we know that brings visitors via the connecting rail into the wine villages of Martinborough, Featherston and Greytown. We feel very strongly that Destination Wairarapa has expertise in promoting and championing what the Wairarapa has to offer and what makes it unique in New Zealand. Why come here as opposed to travelling down to Otago? The other important point to make is that this is an all year round destination. So since we've got the Dark Sky Reserve and we've got key events held in Greytown, like the Winter Festival, this creates an all year round visitor experience, which is really important, so that, typically come April or May, when a lot of other areas might dip off, we have a lot to offer all year round. So we hope that you take our submission into factor when making these decisions moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Katie. So we've still got several minutes, which means we can take several questions. So
Great.
Where will we start? Any questions, councillor?
Very thorough.
Very good presentation.
No, okay. Well, look, thank you, Katie. And yes, we assure you we take all submissions seriously. So
Okay, wonderful. Well, look, I appreciate your time and thank you very much.
we appreciate yours. So, Okay, good morning. So the next person is Carly Polashek, if she is here.
Carly's not here.
No, okay, so we'll move straight to Anna Nielsen. And Anna's submission is on page 44 through to 48. And welcome, Anna, welcome, Chrissy, welcome, Ella. If you could, please sit, please sit.
Is it right if I stand? I feel more comfortable standing.
Okay,
Spend a lot of my day sitting.
all right. If the three of you could speak directly to the machine and say who you are and if you represent anyone, who that is too. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou katoa. Welcome, Nielsen, hope you're well. Your destination Wairarapa. Kia ora, Chrissy Cummings, destination Wairarapa.
Corina Allen Hogg, destination Wairarapa.
I left secondary school in 1990. I was pretty sure I was never going to return to the Wairarapa. I felt there was nothing for me here. It was dull, it was boring, and with limited opportunities for someone like me. Then the Wairarapa, it's like a sleepy rural suburb on the outskirts of Wellington, and people would move here looking for a slower pace of life. 30 years later, largely thanks to tourism, things are very different. There is a buzz about the place, a new sense of pride and confidence, and people move here now to create a life for themselves, not just for a lifestyle. For me personally, I came back 12 years ago, bringing my family with me. And now, as GM of Destination Wairarapa, I have the absolute privilege of leading a passionate, committed, talented team of individuals who work tirelessly to promote everything we all love about this place we call home. Destination Wairarapa is an RTO, or regional tourism organisation. We are one of 31 in the country. Our primary reason for being is to promote the Wairarapa to potential visitors outside of the region. This morning, I stand before you to talk specifically about the importance of tourism to South Wairarapa. The wine industry kicked off tourism in South Wairarapa back in the 90s. Martinborough was obviously the focus. Wellingtonians brought up holiday homes in the droves to stay in while they sipped our local wine. Mike Levin saw the opportunity this could bring the region and helped support his investment in the Martinborough Hotel. And thanks to him, the classic New Zealand wine trail was born. 20 years later, and as you heard from Katie, the classic New Zealand wine trail is still an important asset to our region, as it encourages international visitors to the North Island to explore State Highway 2 rather than the traditional State Highway 1 route, with wine and food and authentic personal experiences as the hook. Greytown soon grew in popularity as the shopping option to complement the wine and food strengths of Martinborough, with Adam Blackwell leading the charge there. And now Featherston and its surrounds are not just an internationally recognised book town, thanks to the energy and dedication of Mary and Peter Biggs, but it is also the gateway to our cycling and walking trails. Although I have named a small handful of specific people that have individually played an important role in the growth of tourism in the South Wairarapa over the years, there is in fact a cast of thousands of passionate, talented people involved in the industry now. As such, you would be hard-pressed to find someone from Cape Palliser in the south to Greytown in the north who is not touched in some way by the effects of our growing visitor economy. Why is this important? Visitors to South Wairarapa bring with them new money from outside of the region. When they buy something, they are investing this new money into the existing pot of South Wairarapa money already moving around amongst the residents as they buy food at the local supermarket or fill up their car at the local petrol station. When visitors to the South Wairarapa invest this new money into the local economy, it automatically increases the wealth of South Wairarapa residents through products or services purchased and wages and salaries paid. Sometimes those visitors love their stay so much, they come back time and time again, and they buy homes, set up businesses and employ staff, thereby further increasing the wealth of South Wairarapa residents and ratepayers. You are, or will know of many, many, many people in the region who have done just that, and aren't we richer for it? Every quarter, I report to you on how Destination Wairarapa is tracking against the targets set by you, the South Wairarapa District Council and the 2 other councils, in accordance with our joint MOU. I therefore talk about spend in the region, visitation to the region as measured by guest nights stayed in commercial accommodation, and the marketing activity we have undertaken in order to attract people to the region. You all know that tourism is back to being number 2 export earner behind dairy in New Zealand. And after the summer just been, visitation to Wairarapa is strong again, especially here in South Wairarapa. And that when we compare pre and post-COVID figures, spend in South Wairarapa increased a whopping 33.8%. There is still, however, so much to do collectively, as the challenge now is to remain relevant in an increasingly highly competitive environment. We also need to manage the growth to be sure that it is in line with what our residents, our community want. I am reminded of South Wairarapa's vision, the best of country living with the community at the heart of everything we do. When developing the Wairarapa Destination Management Plan, the community told us they like tourism and they support its growth, but not at the cost of their lifestyle, environment, or culture. Going forward, this balance is crucial, therefore requires all stakeholders to be on the same page, heading in the same direction and playing their part in the bigger plan. Luckily, we have the Wairarapa DMP to help guide us. Destination Wairarapa is the only organisation in the Wairarapa that does the part that we do, whether that be through our event promotion, product development, destination management, or marketing. We have the skills and expertise to help South Wairarapa become even more stronger and more successful, but in the right way. We need to work together, however, in partnership. Through the combined Council Tourism MOU process, therefore, tell us what you want. What do you want to see Destination Wairarapa do? And then get behind us in a way that best sets us up to deliver successfully for South Wairarapa's residents and ratepayers. The opportunity is there for the taking, and we are up for it, if you are too. Kia ora.
Thank you, Hannah. Now we have plenty of time for questions, and Councillor Eland, once again, has his hand up first.
Thanks, Mayor Martin. Thanks for coming along and presenting to us, Anna, and with Colin, and coming as well. I've certainly taken on board the reports that you come and give us at our meetings every quarter. You show telling us what growth there has been in the industry, what the benefit to South Wairarapa is. Looking back through your budget, so from the 2023 budget, you received 131,000 from South Wai, 55,000 from Carterton district, and 282,000 from Marsden Council. So no doubt you're doing presentations to all councils through this planning process. What our council supplies you, is that sufficient, or what more would you like? What more income or grants would you like to, and what could you do with extra funding that would benefit South Wai?
Sure. Look, over COVID, we received funding called STAP funding, STAAP, Strategic Tourism Assets Protection Funding, the NB acronym there. With that money, we did things that we were never able to afford to do. we were able to facilitate the development of the destination management plan. We were also able to employ Chrissy Cummins, who's a product development specialist. Chrissy has been an integral part of the development of Destination Wairarapa. Our reason for being as an RTO is all about promotion. When you add product development onto that, we are creating, it's like building a house, right? You've got to build the foundations for people to purchase a house to buy. Chrissy, that's her expertise.
Yeah.
She develops product. Then we promote it. When Katie was talking about going away to trends and the fact that more people know where we are from all over the world, reason being is there's things that they can buy. Previous to that, and for a long time, and I went to school here and I've dipped in and out many times. There's been a lot of free stuff, which is great for the community, but it doesn't actually earn anybody any money. And it doesn't create that increased wealth for the community to spend, to employ people. So the sort of things that we've been able to do with increased funding has allowed us, people like Chrissy, to develop plans, to find out demand data. What do people want from their company? We've never been able to do that before. Our existing funding is all about promotion. If we were able to get increased funding, we can keep someone like Chrissy and develop product and manage the destination in a way that the community wants better.
Councillor Clement.
Thanks, Anna. There's no doubt your members hold you in huge regard, so well done. Watched the performance over the last week through COVID. Really impressive. I really would like you to make some comment about the last part of your submission about the targeted, about our ratings. Can you just expand on what you've written in your submission?
Sure. It's not that we oppose it. It's just that
Before you start, this is about the
economic
targeted rate.
development.
Right, yeah, obviously.
Save ones on what's
It's not that we oppose it. All that we're saying is when you put one lever, sometimes other things happen on the other side. And in implementing it, we hope that a consequence or something that you may not have considered could possibly happen, because some of our members have said that if they're paying the targeted rate, they might be paying our membership. That means decreased funding, and I don't think that's what you're looking for. And I just, all it is an official way to highlight when you consider it, please can you make sure you take into account all the things that come into play that may change the environment inadvertently.
So you say in your last line, some ideas to mitigate. What are some of these ideas you might want?
I'm not sure what the background business case study of this is, but I'd love to be involved. If this is something that goes through, is it possible to work with the council in some way to make sure that it is the balance is how you see it to be?
Right, thank you, Anna. That brings us to the end of our time, and we're very grateful to the three of you. So thank you.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Our next submitter is Greg Lang, who I see at the back of the room. So welcome, Greg. You've brought the matter with you. So, assume that we have read your submission, which we have, and you have your 10 minutes. But before you start, if you could both speak to the machine behind me, say who you are and who you represent.
I'm Greg Lang, Chair of the Wairarapa Trails Action Group and the newly formed Live Town Trail Trust. And
kia ora, good morning everyone. You should know me, Jacinta Johnston. I work for Wellington NZ in the Regional Economic Development.
so let's start by acknowledging yourself, your worship and councillors, and thank you for the opportunity of submitting to your long-term plan. So we're here to invite you to be part of the biggest social, environmental, cultural and economic game changer Wairarapa has seen. 90 kilometres of signature trails with over 100 kilometres of experience loops linking Wairarapa's 5 towns with Wellington CBD.
Good morning everyone. As you know, I'm an employee of Wellington NZ and we partner on the WEDS program. I work for the regional ED department at Wellington NZ, and you might not be aware, but that's actually less than 10% of what Wellington NZ does as an organisation. The other 90% is towards fields, marketing, tourism, attracting international talent, supporting regional trails framework, Māori ED, and of course the Film and Screen Office. So I use that as a scene setter to understand that the partnership on 5 towns of Wellington NZ opens up a significant number of commercial connections across central government and region. As you're aware, well, you might not be aware, part of my portfolio is driving the Regional Economic Development Plan. It's a relatively new concept. It was created in 2022 under the Wellington Regional Leadership Committee. That's a forum of all of the region's mayors and ED leaders. And they got together and said, we need to align our resources and priorities behind initiatives which have potential for really high economic impact. We've just gone through a refresh of that plan, and it's about to go to the Leadership Committee next month. I'm pleased to advise that we will be retaining 5 Wairarapa initiatives in that plan, one of which is the 5 Towns Trail. The other 4 are leveraging the dark skies opportunities, supporting the food and fibre sector, water resilience and workforce development. So that's the good news. What Wellington NZ does, or what Wellington NZ does need, is a partner agency in the region to drive each of those initiatives. And that's where they came to the party to fund and support the development of the 5 Towns Trail Trust as the legal entity with the skills and capacity to take this project forward. And there's a real opportunity here to accelerate that investment through the next 3-year LTP cycle.
Yeah, so going forward, we certainly acknowledge South Warren District Council's involvement in the past, especially your assistance to develop the 5 Towns Trail Master Plan, and also the way you've been working with the Grey Towns Trail Trust and Carlton District Council over the bridge over the Taraniko River, developing that section of the trail. So currently, we are working with the Rimutaka Cycle Trail to connect that up to Featherston, and we're acting on the first recommendation of the master plan, which is to develop a trust to deliver the 5 Towns Trail network. So we've appointed an exciting group of trustees. There's four trustees from the community, and there's 3 positions for the council trustees as well. So there's myself, former Mayor of Cardigan, and chair of WITAG, Waipa Trails Action Group, and this new 5 Towns Trail Trust. We have John Tuuri from Ngāti Kahu Kurupia, based around Wahine area there. He's passionate about supporting Whānau, Marae and Hapu. We have Bruce McCullum, very successful businessman, chair of multi-million-dollar companies, now residing in Masterton, and is quite happy to put his expertise into being on this trust. And Joe Galanders, a lot of you would know Joe Galanders. Joe developed the master plan, 5 Towns Trail Trust, and is a very clever planner and thinks strategically outside the box to enable all sorts of things to happen. So from Wellington NZ's point of view, those trustees deliver. Yeah.
That's right. I'm here to provide endorsement for Wellington NZ for the newly formed trust is meeting the requirements of our partnership agency, and that is a link with iwi, a link with the commercial and industry sector, and a link with community leaders.
So we're here to invite you to appoint a trustee to the new 5 Towns Trail Trust, support the retainment of the Regional Trails Coordinator for the Wairarapa, and actively participate in the Waipa Trails Action Group's meetings and activities, and collaborate on funding opportunities via central government, and just acknowledge your support in your long-term plan with an annual amount of money of $20,000 per annum, which equates to $1.70 a year per person in the district. That's 3 cents a week. And from that, we will be able to fund a project team. This is to enable the build to happen. It's a $32 million project. And at $20,000, you get an investment in the development of that. And you'll need to know what we're going to do. So to start with, we're going to create strong governance practices, regional collaboration as a lead agency for trail development. We're going to implement a fundraising strategy targeting sustainable funding sources for trail development. Complete a website, brand development with regular public communication to develop a membership base, fee paying and requests. Establish a work plan for stage 1 of the trail network development, which includes land access and bridges, etc. And work with the councils to induct and support new trustees and create a formal mechanism for reporting back to councils. And most importantly, leverage networks throughout New Zealand, councils, other regional trail networks. The rest of New Zealand has trail networks that are very successful, and we learn from them. We're quite happy to take questions.
Thank you. So we've got plenty of time for questions. Councillors, who would like to go first? Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Martin. So for a fee or funding from South Y of 20k per annum, and sorry, what was the total cost of the project all up?
In 2021, the cost of the project was $32 million.
Right.
So the bill to be funded through government agencies and other trusts. So just like the bridge over the Taranaki River, it was a $1.3 million bridge which was funded through Shovel Ready project scheme.
Mm-hmm. So for 20k per annum, it's going to give South Warwick membership and involvement in the trust. Is it likely that, or I suppose it's the same question as how long's a piece of string, but what's going to happen in the future? Are you going to be coming back to council with a handout for asking for more funding going forward?
All we're asking is to include in your long-term plan for 2024 to 2034, $20,000 per annum to enable us to retain an operational team to deliver. And all build costs will be externally funded.
Can I actually, I probably ought to have asked this of a couple of other suppliers. Are you aware that we're not talking about a long-term plan at the moment?
Annual plan, yes.
Enhancement.
Yeah, I should have said you're in enhanced annual plan.
So it's not the, shall we say, the time or the place to ask for funding for 10 years. Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, Councillor Ross.
Greg, I wonder if you could just perhaps talk about the role of the coordinator that the trust employees basically do.
So South Warwick has been very supportive of this, and it's enabled us to get to this stage. I've been working on this project for 5 years to get to this stage, and early on it became really key to get every trail organisation, BMX group, anything associated with walking and cycling together in a forum and work together. And that's what we've done. We've created the Wairarapa Trails Action Group, and the 3 councils have funded a coordinator. I can't remember how, it's only a few hours a week to enable that to happen. And that if you apply for any grants or anything, the first thing you need, that organisation needs to know is the rest of the region behind it. It will support the smaller groups go for funding as well. And just like we have the regional leadership from 9 mayors and EV leaders supporting this project as well. You need to tick all the boxes as you go forward.
Thanks.
Right. Okay. Well, look, thanks very much, Greg and Jacinda, for joining us. And that's just about our 10 minutes. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And just to finish, I just want to say thank you very much. And if you're going to support this project, please do it if you believe in it. Don't put a caveat on it that you'll only support it if the other councils will. So many regional projects have fallen over in the Wairarapa box. There's a caveat. Believe in the project, support it, and we will deliver. We've been building it up to this point for a long time. We're a volcano. We're about to erupt and deliver trails all over the Wairarapa. So thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Right, so our next submitter is Dan Rediford. Welcome, Dan. And Dan's submission is on page 57 for those who wish to remind themselves. But please rest assured we have read your submission, familiar with it, and we invite you to highlight the key points and to emphasise things you wish us to take. So your 10 minutes starts now.
Thank you. I do appreciate the initiative of Councillor Plummer to confirm with quotable value that forestry and carbon values have not affected the present round revaluations. My deep-seated concern is that on present figures, Wellington Region and the District Council will take out 7.6% of our gross income. 7.6%. And on the basis of fairness, does that in any way resemble the fraction that is taken from town-based businesses? Is that fair? Secondly, then we have to consider the benefits, and in reality, if you're living remotely, the only benefit you receive is the pro rata share of the road. Now, in my submission, I have done a detailed analysis on the basis of a typified farm using the figures assembled by Baker Ag for a presentation in October. And that means that if you use the typified figure, then all remote hill country farmers are in deep strife at the moment. That means cash losses and unescapable. Now, all I would say to that is that we're running the property with just over 8,000 stock units with only one permanent employee. So we're not actually being laggard in doing what we can to run an efficient operation. But it is a concern to me that in looking at this hearing schedule, the only document that's gone forward to you is the 4-page document, which my submission on the SWDC Enhanced Annual Plan. It's a concern to me that this letter written to Ms. Janice Smith on the evening of the 2nd of May, I attached my submission for acceptance by Sunday, 5 May, despite misgivings over the accuracy of the figures. Please treat this email as a supplementary submission, part of the original submission. Looking at this, it's simply been excluded. Also excluded is the detailed analysis from the led by Baker Ag, which would give you a real inside look of what's happening, not just for Tarwhite Station, but for all hill country properties. So know that I have the support of my neighbours in bleak times. So the point I wish to make very loudly is that you cannot expect people to be simply rated out of existence, and particularly where in this constitutional setup, our role as ratepayers is to moderate the decisions of council. That's our role. And that's why we have access to the High Court. By discreet inquiry, I understand that some of you may not yet have known that, having taken the best of Wellington advice from Simpson Grierson, a plot was hatched to serve notice in such a way to take rates that I only heard about it 6 days before Christmas. all I can say is, one, the councils weren't informed. Two, I'm happy to say that never having drafted a set of proceedings and judicial review in my life, I did so. And thus, we had a teleconference before Christmas and I obtained the injunctive relief I sought. And all I would say about it is it's pretty clear warning that if the council doesn't comply with the law, I'm faced with the choice of the High Court or being rated out of existence. And that goes also for my neighbours. And it's pretty bleak that I have to say that to you in those terms, but at least I've demonstrated myself before Christmas as not being wanting. So this, I would ask you all to read this document because it was written in that my neighbours had contacted me about what the CP Group case calls the bed tax. Unlike some of you, I've actually read that case in both the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court and commentary on it. Now, in terms of the fact that the rules of natural justice apply to district councils, that is section 3 of the New Zealand Bill of Rights, and in the submission that was permitted to go forward to you, I quote from Wellington International Airport and Air New Zealand, a case with which I'm well familiar. That was a case in which consultation under Treaty of Waitangi obligations were very topical. So the Court of Appeal dismissed pretty quickly the plea by a private company that they hadn't been consulted, but then there's 10 pages of very good comment on what proper consultation should look like. And I've only quoted one little extract which I obtained by Google method in limited time. But clearly, in a submissions process, all submissions should go forward to the submission maker. That hasn't, nor do I believe has the analysis from Baker Ag of a typified farm, which of course means that if I've not had a chance to submit that written material, then how can the requirements of natural justice be said to be satisfied? However, confronted with that situation and continuing doubts about how much rates we actually would be paid, I then wrote to Ms. Smith saying, please, can you overcome this problem by giving everyone 7 days to consider the looming issue of the bed tax in particular. That request was denied. You now stand in a situation, all of you, where your entire process can be impugned. Now, in this paper, I comment that the rating calculator only went on stream late on Thursday, where submissions were to close on Sunday. None of us really knew what we were up for. In good faith, Janice said it would be $35,000 maximum, to which of course we must add Greater Wellington. Now, Greater Wellington only came back with a reply 2 days ago of a figure of 14,000. So as far as I can figure it, we're
Excuse me, Dan.
up for 52,000.
Right, so you have reached the end of your 10 minutes. Thank you. We would invite questions at this point, but we don't have time for that. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you for sharing your new thoughts. You do have a question?
No, I just want to confirm, Dan, that I ordered the email, the supplementary, the councillors now have it.
Right,
So
thank you.
I've supported all councillors, so they will be able to read it.
Yes, we've got it.
Okay. So we will now,
All I will say,
oh,
I will say at risk of being thrown out, you must take seriously the question that you're lacking in due process of law. Secondly,
and
you must take seriously that
and
7%
I am about to,
of our gross
I'm about to adjourn
revenue
the meeting if you don't retire.
You're welcome to throw me out.
I don't
You're welcome to throw
you
me
out.
into jail. You're failing to understand then that if you're in risk of being rated off the land, then
Meeting is adjourned.
You gave the other person quarter of an hour, so give Dan the same thing.
It's back in session. Next submitter is Jenny Ploy. So Jenny, as I've said to others, we have read your submission. Thank you very much. And we invite you to sort of focus on the key points. But before you
My
begin,
concern
before you,
those figures,
before
there may be an additional
before you begin,
50,000 for car white to pay the bed tax.
could you speak to the machine behind me?
Seriously, that I now am denied the opportunity of explaining.
Would you speak to the machine behind me and say who you are and who you represent, if you represent?
I'm Jenny Boyne. I live at 130 Torah Farm Settlement Road, on the South Warwick. My husband, apologies, not here today, the sheep and beef farmers.
Thank you.
Thank you to the councillors and staff who took the time to come to our community meeting for Toochmaroo last and discuss the enhanced plan. We would leave the meeting with the same feeling of anxiousness that we were still in the dark as to what our rates were going to be and as to how we had determined the makeup of these rates. After the posting of the rates calculator, we wrote to the rates officer and a couple of you to ask if rural ratepayers were now classified as commercial if we offered a homestay accommodation with our second dwelling. The response from the officer, her name's Kirsty, said was to leave it to the councillors to respond. And to date, we have not had any responses from any of the three I sent it to. I'm aware that we're not to ask questions, but would very much appreciate that you please clarify that if the economic target rate applies to rural properties who own homestays. And if it does, we now know that we'll receive no benefit, as Tourism Warwick advised in their presentation that they are there to promote the region to people outside of the Warwick. Our clients are 95% Wellington region based, which is the Warwick included. We are not prepared to pay this portion of our rates, which equates to 25% of our gross income. And so, as we put in our submission, we will be forced to close this side of the business. Read the increase in the values from Quotable New Zealand. Our values have gone up 78% since 2021 and 24% since 2023-24. We revised that the ETS carbon farming had nothing to do with the revaluations. However, this doesn't appear to be correct, as Tom Elworthy at Little Tora put his farm on the market in 21 for $3.5 million and it didn't sell, yet he sold it last month for almost double, straight to carbon farming. We have filed for a review and been told we will be getting a response by November, yet I'm assuming that the rates set now, from 1st of July, will include the new valuation. We think in our basis is unfair. And this is completely off
track here, but I've got time. Since this meeting is recorded, I'd like to formally request that you ask your roading manager to inspect at the earliest the chicane at the top of the sunny side as it's peeling away. The ground has subsided further since Monday, and this section of the road has been falling now for quite some time. We're talking 2 to 3 years. And with the number of logging trucks and cars on the road, it's going to be a fatal accident. So please, it needs your attention. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Now we indeed do have a considerable amount of time before you attend this, so we can ask lots and lots of questions. I am looking at you, Councillor Elam, so go for it.
Thanks, Mayor Martin. Jenny, I apologise. I've just found that email that you sent through to the rates officer. I'll go through it and have a look. Regarding the road up at the top of the Sunnyside, I've got a meeting, not with the road manager, but with a Fulton Hogan overseer early next week, so I'll cover that off.
So it's something I believe this morning I stopped and there's 5 logging trucks went each way, but it's not going to hold. And I'm not a roading engineer, but I know that if it was on my farm, I'd have to close the road.
I'll cover that off. Thanks.
Councillor Rolls.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for coming in and having a chat and submitting today. I just a point of clarification. You said about the percentage. You have a homestay, for instance.
Homestay.
So that generates 25% of your income from.
No.
Sorry.
New targeted rate. If we're included in the new targeted rate,
which
Councillor Plymouth just said informally before, he didn't think it captured us.
Right.
So I don't know if it captures us or not, because it doesn't. Are we rural ratepayers or are we commercial ratepayers? I don't know. By having a homestay, I don't know. I can't find anywhere. I just need to know from someone from the council to clarify. If we have a homestay,
are you captured?
Commercial.
Okay.
Yes or no? Anyone tell me?
I don't know. We can't at the moment. We'll
They can tell me.
come back to you.
No, but it doesn't affect me. It's like, ours is like 4.5 grand. And if you put Diesel Dan behind you here with a $15 million farm, if he offers a homestay, he's going to be charged $21,000 for an economic development rate, of which most of his people come because they want to come to the coast, not because he's buying in Europeans or anything. So it's a lot of money for
during the deliberations, we'll have a conversation about this, but I can understand where you're coming from. So,
sorry. What I'm worried about is that can you change that in your deliberations for this, or are the rates calculations set?
The calculation,
nothing is
calculation. We've yet to deliberate on it.
Because I'm going to close I'm not paying you $4,500 for a service that I'm not going to get any benefit from. Because it'll be unreasonable for me to charge you for something that you're not going to get. So I'll just close.
So that's why you're here today, so that we can helps us make a decision.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with targeting a rate. I'm happy to pay $200 or $300 a year per dwelling, whatever, but I'm not prepared to pay $4,500 because I've got a land value of 3.6. And someone in town's got a homestay, it's valued at 700,000, and they're cranking out the money.
Thanks, Jenny. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Well, let's just check whether there are any other questions. There appear not to be, so thank you.
I've been pressed your time.
Yeah, no big deal. Well done. So we are about to adjourn for lunch. But I just
Just didn't get the funding.
Thanks, Jenny.
Right. So the meeting is now adjourned until 1 o'clock.
So it's 12 o'clock. Yeah, we've done well.